Hello and welcome back to Nomad History. You know, sometimes there are just some historical facts that really just bend my mind and really impress me and fill me with awe. And I thought I would share some of those stories today. So, without further ado, here we go. So you may want to meet this cool little fella, Harriet the Tortoise. So, what's so special about this little guy? First of all, she's a Galapagos tortoise, so she's extremely important for nature and the study of ecology as a whole. 2, she's a massive cutie. And 3, she can live for a really long time. How long, you ask? Well, she lived from 1830 to 2006. This tortoise lived for so long that she met Charles Darwin while he was still alive and toured the world with him. Charles Darwin met this tortoise in about 1835 when she was 5 years old and took her all the way back to England. And then, from England, she found her final resting place in Australia, which she lived in for over 100 years. It's amazing to think of a living creature travelling around with and interacting with humans that are no longer around. This next one's a little bit abstract, but please bear with me. I think anyone growing up in the Europe area has been brought up with the constant stories and history of Rome, for good reason. Rome is the foundation of a lot of how we perceive Europe and how Europeans and people of European descent perceive the world. And Rome was around for a long time, you know, from 753 BC as the kingdom developing into the republic and eventually into the empire that we know and study a lot of today. With the actual city of Rome and the western part of the empire falling in 410 AD, with the rest of the empire, the eastern half, finally succumbing to outside threats in 1453. And yeah, that's a really long time, a pretty much consistent civilization running for about 2,206 years, give or take. That's really impressive, and such a long piece of history. No wonder it shapes European history and a large part of world history. However, what I find extremely interesting is that another civilization, the Mayan civilization, is not only older than Roman civilization by 1,247 years, but also outlasted Rome in its final form, the Byzantine Empire, by 244 years. Now, for those of you that don't know, the Mayan civilization is a rough group of civilizations that existed in Central America. They did share a lot of shared history, culture, and links. Yeah, the Mayan civilization existed from around 2000 BC all the way until 1697 AD, when it was dismantled by the Spanish colonizers. It lasted continuously for 3,697 years. And the craziest thing about this is that for a civilization that lasted for so long, we know so little about it. Mostly because of a lack of a written language of the Mayans, but also because of the just widespread destruction that the Spanish colonizers caused upon arrival. Truly a damaging thing for human history. What could be more mind-blowing than that little fact? Well, it may not have as many numbers involved, but for me personally, it just blows my mind. And I think this fact is fairly well known, but I just wanted to share it again. So, we all know Cleopatra, you know, massively mischaracterized figure, deserves a lot more respect than she actually gets. She was the last ruler of Egypt before it was completely consumed by Rome in the 1st century BC, and generally a badass figure. What I want to just appreciate here is that Cleopatra lived closer to when we landed on the moon in 1969 than she did to the building of the Great Pyramid of Giza, and in fact many of the other pyramids. So Cleopatra was born in 69 AD, a full 2,491 years after the building of the Great Pyramids, and she died in 30 BC, 1,939 years before the landing on the moon. Why does this blow my mind so much? Well, yes, landing on the moon, definitely, probably the greatest achievement that we've achieved as a civilization, possibly ever, probably competed by other humanitarian efforts that have actually helped all humans. But you know, landing on another celestial object is a big flex. She lived closer to that than the construction of one another great feat in human history, the building of the Pyramid of Giza. She would have known the stories and historiography of a lot of the building of the pyramids, at least she would have been aware of who built them. But they existed in a past that it was so mind-bogglingly before her time. I can't imagine her looking at these pyramids and feeling anything other than just awe. Those are 3 mind-boggling facts. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See ya.